Good morning, afternoon, or evening, ladies and gentlemen, all in crypto here, and welcome back, guys, on this happy Monday for what is going to be nothing short of another jam-packed daily cryptocurrency market update. And I have two really interesting reports to share with you in this daily market update. They are both concerned with purchasing, typically from retail investors. Now, every single Monday, we like to start the Monday off by looking at CoinShares' digital asset fund flows, their weekly reports. If you look at who's typically buying these funds in the form of ETFs or ETPs in Europe, which we're very bullish on in regards to baskets of cryptocurrency sort of equities, who's typically buying that? It's typically more of an institutional grade of investor, and we want to be on the side of the smarter, larger money. Obviously, we are a technical analyst because we think we can spot their footprints in the sand through doing that, and we do think we've done that, certainly with some of the ETPs, which we'll be looking at to kind of reconfirm why we're bullish on the crypto space. If they're bullish, if we've got higher targets for them, it means the space is going to do well as a whole. There's so much technical reason to be bullish on this market, guys. I did a Patreon update yesterday where we would really... I don't think after watching that, you can come at me with any kind of a ulterior narrative that has as much evidence to support it as the bullish one does. And we will be talking about a tweet from the Crypto Sniper, looking at the monthly chart and pointing out the kind of hammer that we're seeing for Bitcoin on a kind of macro candle, really setting it up long. Also, Peter Brandt, two of my favorite technical analysts, weighing in on this. But before we do that, or maybe in and around doing that, I want to take us to an Ernst & Young report in regards to the title of the report is Gaining Ground, How Institutional Investors Plan to Approach Digital Assets in 2024. This is from May, so this is a little bit older, but it's still very relevant. I don't think many people have seen this. We'll be looking at some key takeaways, very positive outlook, and we'll also be looking at what crypto these guys actually hold. And obviously it's Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana's next. But there's an interesting one in that sort of fourth position, which we will, of course, be talking about. So, as always, guys, we have got a hell of a lot to get into. Without further ado, let's dive into the video. And let's start things off, as promised, with CoinShares' report. And the report is 197. Bitcoin inflows of $543 million. Now, throughout this entire pullback, we'll talk about the monthly candle, guys, because that's what we're really looking at. Throughout this entire pullback, we have been getting consistent reports or consistent feedback in regards to institutions through ETFs or other such operations or vehicles actually buying the dip, so to speak. And certainly on Monday, with the unwinding of the Japanese carry trade, we saw institutions also doing a similar thing in regards to the equity market, which is doing spectacularly, and crypto will outperform it in what is generally going to be a very good time for risk. We spoke about this on Saturday's meeting from home. So last week, digital asset investment products saw inflows totaling $533 million, marking the largest inflows in 5 weeks. This surge followed remarks by Jerome Powell at Jackson Hole's event. Obviously, we looked at why watching the central bank is so important, because what that means for currency and thus the equity markets. We saw a great example of how a central bank can manipulate the currency market and thus the equity markets with the Bank of Japan. We're going to see the adverse of that for the Fed. Bitcoin was the primary focus, seeing $543 million of inflows, indicating its sentiment to or sensitivity to interest rates. Bitcoin is really just a part of the risk. It's a higher beta equity play, essentially. If you look at the QQQQ, which is a 3x leveraged NASDAQ ETF, is it offered by ARK or is it VanEck? It's one of them. Bitcoin moves in tandem with it. Crypto's just been somewhat lagging. So a month in from the Ethereum ETFs, the new Ethereum ETFs have seen $3.1 billion, ladies and gentlemen, of inflows, particularly offset by, or partially offset by outflows from Grayscale Trust. We also, last week, which nobody really seems to have picked up on, saw, I think it was 34 plus $1 million of outflows for Solana, which is typically from the Grayscale product, and I believe this is then positioning ready for a Solana ETF. There's going to be a narrative with this next sort of leg up that the crypto market's going to see, and I believe it's going to be altcoin ETFs that are now on the horizon. We know that there's clearly an institutional demand for altcoin ETFs, guys. If you are not already subscribed to this channel, what are you doing? This is and certainly I believe is and is going to be the place to be in regards to crypto. We've got lots coming for you, including live streams, all kinds of things. And obviously, if you want to take that step further, do become a Patreon. You see, obviously, Bitcoin, Ethereum still seeing outflows, but month to date still up, obviously due to grayscale. Multi-assets saw ridiculous inflows. Now, these are the likes of your crypto ETPs, which, of course, we are all bullish on. We know, actually, and we're getting confirmation that institutions are accumulating, whilst a pattern is forming that is ultimately going to see higher prices in our assessment. And you can see, of course, this is predominantly where things have came from. United States. People always say, oh, the world's bigger than the United States. Of course, it is. It's kind of a backhanded comment that people give me via that, but you know what people are like, unfortunately. But the United States is very significant. Not only is the central bank, or the largest central bank in the world, in the United States, the dollar is the world reserve currency, and this is why we pay so much attention to it. If we can get that right, we can typically get the rest of the sort of world right, if you will. And then, of course, Hong Kong. We know what's happening over in Hong Kong. So it goes on to say Bitcoin was the primary source, seeing $543 million of inflows. Interestingly, the majority of those inflows were on Friday. Again, Jackson Hole, remember what happened, the confirmation there, people now going, okay, we're going to get that. And then, that sets off a broader trend. This is also all happening at a pivotal moment. Bitcoin I believe, will come off the monthly chart as I'm showing you this. It is rearing its head, guys, and you are going to see this turn into a very flag-like structure. We still have that $151,000 target. If you look at Bitcoin miners, they look spectacular. We've got a miner that we think is going to 23, 24x, guys. Get in the Patreon, unlock that. I spoke about it in yesterday's video when I look at all the stocks that I own, all the cryptos that I own. Look at ETPs. The stage is very much set. Even look at something like Sol BTC. Sol is going to gain ground against Bitcoin, but that doesn't mean that Bitcoin's going to be going down in price, because it's going to have to be going up in price for Solana, and altcoins do well against it. Follow the dovish comments by Jerome Powell indicating Bitcoin sensitivity to interest rates. Ethereum saw outflows totaling $36 million last week, although new issuers continue to see inflows, with the Grayscale Ethereum Trust offsetting this with $118 million in outflows. A month in from the Ethereum ETF launch, the new Ethereum ETF has seen $3.1 billion. This is spectacular, guys. I think if you take Bitcoin out of the equation, it's the fastest growing ETF in terms of inflows in the past 12 months by miles. Obviously, Bitcoin is the first. Ethereum very much is the second. The iShares is very much the second. Particularly offset by outflows from the Grayscale Trust. Grayscale pinged me right off, $2.5 billion. Can you imagine if that wasn't happening? So blockchain equities saw inflows for the third consecutive week, totaling $4.8 million. Now, it's a very small market. We're very bullish on blockchain equities. These are the equities they're referring to. Of course, this is Grayscale Digital Large Cap Fund, which has a basket of cryptos within it. You will see ETFs, basket ETF products. Mark my words on that, guys. And that's going to see billions flow into the altcoin market, which is a very small market. It might seem large, or it might seem, we're talking billions, hundreds of billions now, the altcoin market. Everything outside of the top 10 is only $200 billion. $1 billion into that sees it go insane. Multiple billions, that's going to be unlocked with institutions is going to be spectacular, not to mention, retail coming in. And this is another, when it walks, talks, and quacks like a duck, ladies and gentlemen, it's a duck. Bitcoin top 10 crypto index from Bitwise, very similar thing. These are insane multiples. 8x, what's the space going to be doing? And then, of course, 21 shares. Unfortunate Kathy Wood. We also have, confirmation in regards to Total 2. Others dominance. The stage is very much set, and we can explain why we think that from a technical point of view. First of all, a macro point of view, and then break that down and say, okay, technically the stage is very much aligned. Also worth noting, this was a tweet from Franz Hunt, the Crypto Sniper, great guy to follow, somebody I've learned a hell of a lot from. The Bitcoin monthly chart shows a big sell-off wick and a rebound for a monthly hammer, a test of channel low rejection. Assumption, Bitcoin crypto reflation is in a snapback stage, larger continuation, broadening structure to break for significant new highs. And you can see this is, of course, what he's highlighting here, this monthly hammer. You do have Peter Brandt talking about this. Month is not done yet. But if month ends anywhere in the 64K area, we will have a massive hammer. I agree, would be especially bullish. And Bitcoin on its own technical merit looks fantastic. And the candle is just another confirming thing. This is what we're trying to do with technical analysis, is piece the puzzle together. It's not a silver bullet. People that say technical analysis doesn't work, well, often they haven't made any money from it. And that's largely why they're saying it. It truly does. Hopefully you guys that follow the channel day in, day out will be seeing a lot of that take place, certainly in regards to the calls with what we thought the dollar was going to do. It's all taking place more broadly with the markets. You've just got to sort of understand that it's not a guarantee. I don't understand. There's no free meals really in life, unless, of course, you work for the government. In communist Britain at the moment. Maybe I should start the video by addressing everyone as comrades at this point. But technical analysis isn't a silver bullet. Really what it does is it increases the chances of you being able to predict what's going to happen next. The last thing that I want to love and leave you guys on, and I'm probably going to do a longer video going through this report, because this is the first time me seeing it. Now, it came out in May 2024. May, June, July. So 3 months in now since this came out. This is EY Parthenon, Building a Better Working Together. This is kind of the executive summary. We may look back at 2023. It's essentially looking at sort of allocation in regards to digital assets from institutional investors. So key takeaways: the events of registered vehicles is a more important moment and catalyst for both traditional financial firms and institutional asset investors. In evolution of digital assets, institutional investors have increased allocation to digital assets and digital assets related products and plan to continue doing so. A bit of a glitch in the matrix there, guys. I do apologize. Primary demand for digital asset exposure has shifted from spot crypto in 2023 to strong preference for registered vehicles 2024. Post the launch of Bitcoin ETPs, there is a growing interest in investing in tokenized assets, particularly alternatives to drive portfolio diversification. That's what this is all about, guys. A lack of regulatory clarity and a perceived lack of trusted partners in the ecosystem are still key barriers to which growth and adoption of crypto and tokenization. This will change. Family offices and hedge funds have allocated higher percentages to crypto and are more diverse in their investments across different tokens compared to asset managers and asset allocation. Of course, family fund officers, they don't have to go through such a due process. They can, the principle, and I know this because I've looked into potentially becoming one of these at a later stage, once we've proven our worth, can decide if he wants to invest in Cardano or any of these. They don't need to wait for a registered vehicle. They can do that. They can pull that trigger. Whereas sort of more of a asset manager from a big investment firm, they can't do that. They need registered vehicles and avenues to do that. Asset managers, particularly the larger ones with AUMs of 500 plus billion, on increased interested to launch both crypto funds and tokenized funds. Very, very interesting. And let's take a quick look before we wrap the video up in regards to what these institutions hold. So which types of cryptocurrencies is your firm allocated to currently? Choose all that your firm owns. Obviously, Bitcoin, overwhelming 98% of them, 78% of them into Ethereum, of course. Then, of course, Solana, which we've always said was going to be the first to get an ETF. And then, very interestingly, XRP. Binance, Cardano, Tron, Dark Horse, remember, doing very well. Certainly off the back end of potentially China news. AVAX, Lido, and others. And actually quite a large stake in others, which is rather interesting. I would wager that they're going to be in the form of AI and deep-in networks, which, of course, we've listened to Avanek talk on. That's it from me, ladies and gents. Jam-packed Monday in regards to news that we've covered. We've stayed away from sort of the headlines right now. We were going to do a bit of a video on the whole Telegram situation with Pavel. Interesting that you hear news that Russia's actually trying to get him out. Derive from that what you will. That's it from me, guys. On that note, I'm going to love and leave you. If you've enjoyed the content, like as always, appreciate it. So as a comment, I'll see you all in tomorrow's daily market update. And don't forget to watch out for this evening's video. See you in the next one, ladies and gents.